A somber scene in Houston at a growing makeshift memorial outside the site of that concert disaster. People leaving flowers to remember the victims. What happened is now the subject of a criminal investigation as authorities try to sort out what led to 8 deaths and dozens injured, some still hospitalized.
And 50,000 people were in the audience that night at the Travis concert. Friday night, when some surged forward, compressing the crowd at the front of the venue into a dangerous crush of bodies, unable to move, some unable even to breathe, and now so many questions yet to be answered.
And among those questions, how long did it take to stop the concert, and how effective was security? Authorities saying more than 1,200 police officers and private guards were working the concert, and Houston's police chief also addressing one disturbing possibility that individuals were injecting strangers with drugs. ABC's Marcus Moore is at the concert site this morning and joins us live with the latest. Marcus, good morning.
Well, Gio, good morning. You can see the growing memorial just behind me here at the park, right outside the park where this concert was happening. And there is so much pain here in Houston this morning and unanswered questions about how so many people were killed and critically injured, including children. This morning, a criminal investigation is underway as we learn more about the lives lost during the pandemonium at this Texas music festival. It left 8 people dead, the youngest victim just 14 years old. Overnight, one victim identified as Brianna Rodriguez, a 16-year-old high school junior, and 21-year-old Franco Patino, an engineering student at the University of Dayton. Approximately 50,000 people attending global superstar Travis Scott's sold-out festival in Houston when authorities say the crowd began surging the stage. One fan seen here being lifted off the ground and carried out. 300 people had to be treated, fans reporting having to gasp for air, crushed in the crowd.
I could feel myself like if I was drowning underwater, like I was gasping for air and I couldn't get it, and I was screaming like I've never screamed before, and nobody could hear me.
Her husband laying on top of her, shielding her from the onslaught of people.
It was very hard and scary, but I just laid on her to make sure nobody stepped on her head or her face, but she kept on screaming.
Scott pausing his show when he noticed a fan in distress seen in this Apple Music live stream.
We need somebody to help him. Somebody passed out right here. Somebody passed out right here. Hold on, don't touch him, don't touch him. Everybody just back up.
The crowd would shift one way and then shift the other way. And then at some points, you know, you'd be like your shoulders were so like tight that like sometimes your feet would be off the ground and you're just like moving.
Just 5 minutes into Scott's set, concert goer Ryan Kushner couldn't breathe and desperately tried to move away.
It was terrifying when I'm trying to walk out and I knew a drop was coming and I could hear that it was about to happen, and I knew I was about to get sucked right back into another pit and get crushed all over again.
Kushner says someone ran into the medical tent in a panic, alerting the staff to possible deaths.
They just came over and said there's dead bodies in the pit, and y'all need to go and do something about this.
The chaos overwhelming. Police saying one officer at the concert was trying to restrain a person and had to be revived with the opioid antidote Narcan after he reported feeling a prick in his neck.
He was revived, and the medical staff did notice a prick that was similar to a prick that you would get if somebody's trying to inject.
And then there was ICU nurse Madeline Eskins. She thought her life was over, asking her boyfriend to tell her son she loves him.
I really didn't think I was going to see him again. If I wouldn't, and then I fainted.
After waking up, springing right into action.
I was like, okay, well, I'm an ICU nurse. Like, let me help. I'm just trying to go around trying to control the chaos as much as I can.
Overnight, Scott speaking out on Instagram, saying he is devastated.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. My fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. I could just never imagine the severity of the situation.
Live Nation, that hosted this event, released a statement saying that it's heartbroken by what happened here and pledged to work with investigators as they search for answers. It took about 40 minutes for the concert to be stopped after the first report of trouble. The police chief said yesterday during a news conference that with 50,000 people in one spot, trying to clear the area too quickly could cause a riot. But he did say that the area was ultimately cleared relatively swiftly. But guys, this morning, everyone at that news conference said that the people who lost loved ones deserve answers as to what happened here. Juju.
Marcus, thank you. So many unanswered questions ahead. Thank you. And joining us now are two people who survived the ordeal at that Travis Scott concert, 19-year-old Kaia Redus and former Marine Lucas Naccarati. Good morning to you both. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Kaia, let me begin with you. I know you were there with a friend. When did you first sense that something was going terribly wrong?
About 20 minutes before he came out.
And what were you seeing in the crowd?
I looked behind me and there was no opening to get out. It was like there was just people on top of people, and it was just too much.
And Lucas, I know that you tried to help people along the way. You're a strong guy, clearly, but it took you crushed into the crowd as well.
Right, yeah, I was definitely crushed, and it was just so intense to where you couldn't even scratch your face no matter how hard you tried. Whatever position you were stuck in, regardless of what you did.
And Lucas, I know you shared video with us, and you could see how tightly packed the crowd was. How close were you to the front, and how much were people crowded in together?
I would say I was about at least 100 feet from the front. So I was towards the middle, near where the camera people were at, and we were just packed beyond belief. So even at that point, I guess that was one of the more intense parts of the crowd, since it was towards the middle.
And you were a former Marine.
Just trying to rush into there.
Right. Lucas, you're a former Marine. I know that you stopped to help people, give them CPR at one point. How difficult and dangerous was this situation?
The first person that I gave CPR to, it was just this girl was just screaming for her life, and I looked over to her. I grabbed her towards the end, towards the back of the crowd, and when I found a spot where I could lay her down and start doing it, she just wasn't responding. I checked her pulse, I checked everything, started giving her CPR. After about a minute and a half, she came back, and another girl saw her, started taking over. I looked over to my right to look for a security guard. There was a guy just getting completely stomped on. I just put my shoulder down and just rushed into the crowd and I think I just trucked like two people. I took out the second guy. The second guy was pretty much dead as I got him. I tried for like a minute and a half. People started walking all over me. People started walking all over him. So I did CPR for as long as I could until I felt like my life was now at risk. And I just went to go look for a security guard or medic, but that guy didn't respond at all. I'm pretty sure he was just dead already.
Lucas, that is so traumatic, and you're describing such heroic behavior. Kaia, I know somebody came out, a stranger helped you get out once you fell to the ground, right?
Yes, he did. He came out of nowhere and he just picked me up, but I'm thankful that he did.
And what was it like when you were on the ground trying to claw your way up? I heard descriptions that were absolutely harrowing.
It was like nothing I've ever felt before. You couldn't even feel anything because you were just in a panic. You knew that you had to get out, but it was how do you get out of a place that there's no way to get out? I'm a pretty tall girl, pretty big girl, and it was hard for me to get out, and if it wasn't have been for him, I wouldn't have got out of there.
Well, Lucas, Kaia, thank you both so much for joining us. I know there's a lot of trauma to be healed. We hope you're both well, and take care.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.